You've been taught to trust words, to believe that when someone speaks, they are telling you who they really are. But here's the paradox. Words don't reveal the truth. Words disguise it. Nietzsche warned us long ago. Every profound spirit needs a mask, and that warning is still alive today. Look closer, and you'll see the cracks. A smile that lasts a second too long, a laugh that doesn't match the eyes, a silence that hangs heavy, saying everything words refuse to admit. People are constantly leaking the truth, not in their speeches, not in their carefully chosen lines, but in the small betrayals they cannot control. And once you learn to notice those betrayals, once you sharpen your vision to see beyond the surface, you'll never see people the same way again. This isn't about manipulation. It's not about learning tricks to outsmart others. It's about clarity. It's about protecting yourself from deception. It's about finally seeing people as they are, not as they pretend to be. Because here's the reality. Every single day you're surrounded by masks. The friend who insists they're fine while their voice trembles. The coworker who boasts endlessly about success but can't hide the bitterness in their tone. The partner who avoids eye contact, hoping you won't notice the guilt burning just beneath their skin. You've seen these moments before. You just didn't have the words to name them. Nietzsche did. Jung did. They saw that human beings are not what they claim. They are what they hide. They are not defined by their masks, but by the cracks in them. And that's where your power lies, in learning to read the cracks. Because most people aren't malicious. They're not out to fool you with elaborate lies. They're just scared. Scared of rejection. Scared of being exposed. Scared of being unworthy if you saw them without the mask. And so they act. They perform. They hide behind exaggerated laughter, behind moral superiority, behind endless chatter. But truth is stubborn. It always escapes. In the body. In the silences. In the slips of the tongue. And once you learn Nietzsche's 18 psychological truths, once you understand how to decode projection, silence, exaggeration, envy, fear, no mask can survive in front of you. You will see people not as they want to be seen, but as they are. And that kind of vision is dangerous, because once you see, you cannot unsee. You will notice the hollowness in small talk. You will recognize the insecurity in arrogance. You will feel the loneliness behind cruelty. At first, it will unsettle you. You'll wonder if you're becoming cold, detached, even antisocial. But that's another lie, because the truth is, clarity is not cruelty, awareness is not arrogance, and silence is not weakness. You're not pulling away from people because you hate them. You're pulling away because you see too clearly, because you refuse to betray your intelligence by pretending not to notice. Jung might call this individuation, the process of becoming whole, of shedding the masks forced on you by society. Nietzsche might call it awakening, the refusal to live as a sheep among the herd. And you might simply call it survival, because the cost of blindness is too high. Fake friendships, toxic relationships, wasted energy on people who never had the courage to show you who they really are. But that ends here. This journey will change the way you see people forever. You will no longer confuse performance with authenticity. You will no longer mistake words for truth. You will no longer hand your trust to masks. Instead, you'll hold a lens so sharp that no disguise can survive in front of you. By the end of this video, you'll know Nietzsche's 18 psychological truths, and with them, you'll carry something rare: vision. The kind of vision that makes you immune to lies, immune to masks, immune to the games people play. Most people are blind. You will not be. And that is where this story begins. The danger isn't just that people lie to you. The deeper danger is that you begin to live inside their illusions. Fake friendships, shallow love, empty promises, all because you couldn't read the signs staring you in the face. Nietzsche believed that society survives not on truth, but on appearances. Masks are rewarded. Performance is celebrated. And those who speak plainly are silenced, mocked, or ignored. Jung might add, the persona protects you, yes, but it also hides you. And when everyone is hiding, what chance does truth have to be seen? The stakes are not abstract. They are personal. They are yours. Think back to the friend you trusted who betrayed you. Nietzsche said, "We are often most deceived by the truth we wish to hear." That is the trap. You want to believe the words. You want to believe the smiles. You want to believe the promises. And so you close your eyes to the cracks until the illusion collapses. But what if you refuse to close your eyes? What if you learn to see the cracks before they shattered you? That is what this journey is about. Not paranoia, not suspicion, but awareness. Because the moment you can see, you can choose. You can spot envy before it poisons your friendships. You can sense manipulation before it locks you in its grip. You can recognize that the bully is not powerful but afraid, that the arrogant are not superior but fragile, that the ones who mock you are terrified of their own reflection. And with that vision comes the rarest freedom of all, the freedom to decide where your soul goes. You will no longer waste yourself on shallow people. You will no longer mistake noise for depth. You will no longer stay where you are not valued. Instead, you'll learn to walk away before the mask takes too much from you. You'll learn to conserve your energy, to invest it only where honesty breathes, to surround yourself not with men, but with a few, the rare few who can face life without constant disguise. But if you ignore this skill, if you choose blindness because it feels safer, life will punish you. Not once, not twice, but again and again until you wake up. You'll keep falling for the same personalities, the same betrayals, the same patterns of pain that whisper, "If only you had seen sooner." And maybe that's where you are right now. Tired of the games, tired of the masks, tired of giving everything and getting nothing but emptiness in return. Then hear this. The cost of blindness is your soul. The reward of vision is your freedom. That is why this matters. That is why the stakes are so high. Because once you see clearly, you don't just protect yourself from lies. You learn to love more deeply. You learn to forgive more wisely. You learn to connect not with masks, but with souls. And that changes everything. So here's the question only you can answer. Will you keep trusting the surface? Or will you dare to see what's hidden? Look closely. Not at what people say, but at what they cannot hide. Every person you meet wears a mask. At first glance, the mask looks flawless. The polished smile, the steady voice, the carefully chosen story. But Nietzsche warned, every profound spirit needs a mask. And the deeper the spirit, the heavier the mask. Here's the paradox. The mask is meant to protect, but protection always leaves cracks. And in those cracks, the truth leaks out. Masks slipwatch someone when the conversation cuts too close. They laugh too loudly. They change the subject too quickly. Their eyes dart away for just a fraction of a second. That's the slip. That's the moment the persona falters. The truth doesn't shout, it leaks. The colleague who jokes about everything serious isn't just being funny. Behind the laughter is fear. Fear of being exposed. Fear of vulnerability. The friend who avoids eye contact when you ask about their relationship smiles and insists, it's fine, but their body betrays them. Jung might say the shadow is struggling to break through, the hidden self pressing against the mask. The mask tries to hold, the shadow pushes back. The tension always shows. So when you hear the forced laugh or see the nervous smile, don't just listen to the words, listen to the silence between them. Silence is louder than any performance. Projection. Nietzsche revealed another truth. What people attack in others is often what they cannot face in themselves. The critic of arrogance hides his own insecurity. The one who mocks vulnerability fears her own fragility. The man who rages against dishonesty is already lying to himself. Look around. The co-worker who accuses everyone of laziness has his own half-finished projects buried in shadows. The friend who ridicules emotional people cries alone at night. This is projection, the unconscious trick of expelling what we hate in ourselves by blaming others. Jung put it simply, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. So when someone lashes out at you, don't assume their words describe you. Trace them back to the speaker. What they hate in you is really what they're hiding from themselves. Their criticism isn't your wound, it's their confession. Exaggeration. Listen carefully to absolutes. The louder the declaration, the weaker the truth behind it. I don't care what anyone thinks. Which really means, I care more than anyone could know. I'm always happy. Which really means I am terrified of sadness. I never get angry. Which really means I'm boiling inside. Nietzsche believed extremism is not strength but imbalance, the ego shouting to cover the whisper of doubt. Think of the influencer posting endlessly about success, grind, positivity. If their happiness were real, would they need to broadcast it constantly? Performance is not confidence, it is camouflage. And when you hear exaggeration, don't dismiss it. Read it. Ask yourself what fear is hiding beneath the volume, because no one exaggerates what they don't secretly doubt. Silence and pauses. Not all truth hides in noise, some hides in silence. Watch someone when you ask a direct question. If they hesitate, if the pause lingers, if the answer comes too quickly and too neatly, the silence has already spoken. You ask, "Are you happy?" They laugh and say, "Of course," but the truth was already there in the pause before the word. Nietzsche distrusted language because he saw words as tools of the herd, meant to conceal more than reveal. Jung would add that in hesitation, the unconscious slips past the gatekeeper of the mask. So when you listen, don't just hear the sentence, hear the rhythm, the stutter, the avoidance, the brevity where there should be depth. And remember, silence is not always deceit. Sometimes it is protection. The pause doesn't always mean someone is hiding malice. Sometimes it means they're afraid of being hurt. Either way, silence tells you where the wound lives. The mask of virtue. There is another mask Nietzsche called out, the mask of morality. The louder someone declares their purity, the more you should be wary. The one who constantly preaches kindness may secretly crave control. The one who flaunts humility may be starving for admiration. The louder the virtue, the emptier the core. Think of the Instagram account that posts endlessly about empathy, while quietly belittling friends in private. Think of the coworker who praises honesty but gossips when no one is looking. Real goodness doesn't need applause. The tree doesn't clap for its own fruit. The river doesn't announce its flow. So when you see exaggerated virtue, don't waste energy on outrage. See it for what it is, longing. Not virtue, but a desperate attempt to be seen as what they wish they were. The herd distraction. Finally, notice the patterns of distraction. The endless chatter, the constant scrolling, the need for noise at all costs. Why? Because silence is dangerous. Silence threatens to expose the emptiness within. Nietzsche called this herd morality, the behaviors people adopt to stay safe in the group, never alone, never forced to face themselves. The jokes, the gossip, the parties, they're not random. They're survival strategies. Think of the friend who cannot spend a night alone, who fills every moment with music, television, or endless company. It looks like fun, but beneath it is terror, terror of sitting alone with their own thoughts. So when you see endless noise, don't envy it. Don't feel guilty for not wanting it. Understand this, your solitude is not weakness. It is power, a power others cannot touch. Putting it together. By now you see the pattern. Masks slip, projections confess, exaggerations betray, silences whisper, virtue signals cover emptiness, noise hides fear. Nietzsche wasn't teaching us to judge. He was teaching us to see, to cut through herd illusions and meet reality face to face. And once you see, you cannot unsee. That's why crowded rooms drain you. That's why gossip tastes like poison. That's why endless noise feels hollow. You are not antisocial, you are awake. You are not rejecting the world, you are simply no longer hypnotized by it. And that awareness is the beginning of power. But awareness has a cost. Part 2, Inner Motives and Costs. You've seen the cracks on the outside. Now let's step inside. The friend who cannot handle criticism grew up where love was conditional. The partner who clings desperately was once the child left behind. And here's the tragedy. Until these patterns are named, they repeat endlessly. Adults walk through life acting out childhood scripts, mistaking wounds for identity. So when someone's behavior confuses you, pause and ask, what child lives inside them right now? This doesn't excuse cruelty, but it explains the ghost behind the mask. The cost of blindness. If you don't learn to read these inner motives, you misjudge people constantly. You mistake arrogance for strength. You mistake silence for coldness. You mistake envy for hatred. You mistake performance for truth. And in doing so, you give your trust to masks. You tie your life to illusions. And the cost is enormous. Betrayal, confusion, disappointment. Nietzsche warned that blindness to motives makes you prey to deception. Jung added that what you fail to see in others, you also fail to see in yourself. Projection is a two-way street. But here's the gift. When you learn to see these motives, you not only protect yourself, you also gain compassion. Because every mask, no matter how ugly, is covering pain. Every critic is confessing their own fear. Every arrogant soul is just a child trying not to be shamed again. The burden of clarity. But awareness is heavy. The more you see, the harder it is to belong. You realize people are not what they seem. And once you've glimpsed the wounds beneath the mask, you can never unsee them. This is the loneliness of clarity. It is the burden of intelligence. You notice what others miss, and in noticing, you feel set apart. Nietzsche said the higher mind often walks alone. Jung said individuation demands separation from the herd. Both agreed. Vision costs belonging. But here's the paradox. The cost of blindness is worse. Blindness leads to betrayal. Awareness leads to freedom. So you must decide, do you pay the price of belonging to illusions or the price of being awake? Closing transition. By now, you see that external patterns are just the surface. Beneath them live motives, fear, guilt, envy, childhood scars. And once you name them, you gain both protection and compassion. But clarity is not the end of the journey. Awareness without action can still leave you isolated, bitter, lost. The real transformation begins when you learn what to do with this vision. In the end, the truth is simple. People are not mysteries. They are patterns. Stories written in repetition, in exaggeration, in silence, in the cracks they cannot control. And now you can read them. Not to judge, not to manipulate, but to finally see. Nietzsche once said, "Every profound spirit needs a mask," and that is true. Masks are part of survival. They protect, they shield, they allow people to move through the noise of society. But here's the secret. Masks are fragile. They always crack. The forced laugh slips, the silence reveals, the exaggeration betrays. And when the mask shatters, the truth is there, trembling, insecure, afraid, human. Your task is not to despise what you see. Your task is to notice, to read with clarity, to understand with compassion. Because when you see behind the mask, you carry a power most never develop, the power to live free from illusions. No more fake friendships, no more shallow promises, no more wasting your energy on masks that were never real. Instead, you walk awake. You protect yourself from deception. You connect only where truth breathes. You recognize the pain behind cruelty, the fear beneath arrogance, the longing hidden inside envy. And in that vision, you stop taking things so personally. You stop being trapped in other people's performances. You rise above the play. The next time someone calls you naive, remember this. Blindness is easy. Anyone can pretend not to see. But vision is rare. And you now carry a lens sharp enough to pierce illusion. This isn't only about reading others. It's about protecting yourself. It's about claiming freedom. It's about living without the chains of lies and masks. Remember this line. You are not here to be fooled by appearances. You are here to awaken to the truth. So take these truths with you. Practice them. Sharpen them. Use them not for cruelty but for clarity. Not for control but for compassion. And when you walk into the world with this sight, you will never see it the same again. If this message spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe. Share it with someone who is tired of masks. And write in the comments 3 simple words. I see the truth. Because that's what you carry now. Not blindness, not naivety, but vision. You are no longer blind. You are awake.